Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'll be going over these Retevis MURS radios, talk about some features that I like about them, and go over some specs, and also do a power test. So I want to talk about why I purchased the MURS radio. When I first got into amateur radio and GMRS, I really thought MURS is really pointless to use, and I definitely wasn't going to go with FRS. But once I looked into it, MURS definitely has its place. For me, those reasons are I wanted a radio that was a little bit more private, even though, see right there, you can hear people talking, but they're not really private. I just wanted a radio that is more than likely not used by so many people and therefore means that less people are probably listening to you. Because basically, I'm using this around the house to communicate with people like, hey, I'm downstairs, or I'm doing this, or if you need me, I'll be doing this or whatever. So what I do is I have it on channel 1 at low power so that I have less risk of transmitting farther distances and having other people listening to me. Also, you might be asking, well, why don't I just use GMRS at low power? Well, I love GMRS, but it's UHF only. If you want to have another option, like VHF, MURS is a good option that you can take. Now, I probably would just bypass MURS and not even think about it or give it a second thought if it was in UHF, but it's not. It's in VHF, and you get 5 channels, and VHF has its advantages just like UHF has its advantages. So overall, that's why I purchased this model. And these are nice, relatively small handhelds. They fit in your pocket. They're not really noticeable. And I also keep the stock antenna because there's no point in me having a higher gain or better antenna on it, because my point is not to transmit at very long distance. If I wanted to, I would just switch over to GMRS or amateur radio. But since it's a slim, sleek feature here and nobody really can mess it up, you can give these to your friends easily and be able to talk immediately. You don't even need a license, which is really great. So I just received these radios maybe about a few weeks ago, and I've been playing around with them for about 3 weeks just to kind of get accustomed to them. These are the RB38V model of the Retevis MURS radio. So I went with this particular model from Retevis versus the other models because this is nice and compact. It's super small, as you can see. It fits in your hand pretty well. They're lightweight. It's got a decent battery life as well, and there's not a lot of confusing buttons on here so that you can easily use this with friends or family without them being intimidated with how these things work. It's pretty intuitive how to use this radio without having to have really any knowledge of or background about programming or anything like that. All you need to do is make sure you're on the same channel and push the push to talk button to communicate. So a little bit about this radio. It's really nice as far as quality, I think. It doesn't feel too cheap, really. I mean, it's light in my hands and all of that, but some of the features here, I'm going to turn this down and turn it off, but we'll go ahead and maybe start with the battery actually. So it comes with a battery cradle basically that's USB chargeable. So it's super easy to carry that, I guess, around and be able to plug it into any kind of USB block to charge your radio on the go. Unfortunately, there's no USB-C on here, which I really, really prefer. But overall, this does a good job because the battery lasts a decent amount of time based on how much you're using it. It's only outputting about 2 watts, and we'll get to that later. The belt clip, it was easy to install, but it is seems a little bit maybe, I don't know, flimsy or something. It's just basically a slot here in the clip that just slides into there. There's no screws or anything like that, so it's super easy. However, all of this is plastic, so you might want to be careful. If you wanted to have a more rugged or sturdy radio, then this might not be for you. But for me and my purpose, this is perfect because it's just pretty much being used around the house, or maybe those random trips or something like that while hiking or something. So that's the battery. Let's take a look at these buttons. You have the push to talk button, and then you have 2 programmable buttons here that you could set for Vox, or what I have it set for is the high or low power and the weather, but you have some other features on there as well that you could use, such as your tone settings and things like that. But you'll check all that out in the software when you get to it. Turning it around to the top here, you have an antenna that is a removable antenna, as you can see, looks like that. And the antenna, it's probably about maybe 4 inches long, and it's a VHF 136 to 147 megahertz, obviously because MURS is in the VHF band. You also have your channel minus and channel plus button here, which is just a little tab here that you push up or down, and we'll show you that. I've turned up the volume to volume 1 so you can hear it. So you'll see that it goes this way, downwards, and then if you push it the other way, it goes up. I really like that button. It's not like a crazy knob or anything. It's super easy to push up or down, pretty tactile, and you won't have to really worry about the knobs. Then you have this power button here. I have noticed that it's not like super easy to push, so you're not going to accidentally turn that off, but you do have to give some effort to turn it off and on. You know, push down in the middle and it'll go on and off. Although also, when you just do a little tap like that, you'll see here that you get a number with a battery symbol there. So that can tell you how much battery is left or remaining on your MURS radio. On this side, you have your mic and speaker ports here. It does work with your typical K-type connector like what the Baofeng UV5R or UV82 or things like that use. So that's good. You don't have to buy another cable if you already have one of them. Also here, let's take a look at the screen. Now the screen does go off on its own on a timer if you set it that way in your programming, but there's not like a physical screen. It's probably like a translucent screen that is behind this plastic housing. So you're not going to be breaking this or scratching it up or anything. And I really like the green color, to be honest, and it's very easy to see. And visually, I think it looks great. So those are my thoughts real quick about the radio in general, all of the features here that I noticed, and the reason why I got it. They're really good radios, I think. The only real issue that maybe I've had or complaints is that you get a lot of feedback or static or random interference, I think, on these. At least I have, but I don't know if that was because of maybe the squelch level that I had. So what I did is I put the squelch on 7 on all of these radios, and I think the problem more or less has gone away, and I haven't really had any annoying issues like that. I also couldn't pass up the deal on these nice radios from Retevis because I got a 3-pack for $29. That's less than $10 a radio, and so why not? Even if, you know, these break or something like that, no big loss, just go get another one. And it's always fun just to have extra radios laying around in all different kinds of radio bands if you wanted. Maybe you won't use them that often, but hey, 30 bucks, it's nothing, you know, to have 3 radios that you can use whenever you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the power test here. What I have is my dummy load. I have the Surecom SW102. And I have a nice little box of adapters here. Let's go ahead and take the antenna off. So let's find the right connections for the Surecom. I'm not going to use the pigtail. If you can avoid it, might as well. But if you use it, you're not going to notice a big difference in your power readings. But let's see if we can get the most honest reading here for you that we can. I don't have a ground plane on here, but I'm not really measuring the SWR. And we'll screw on the dummy load. Okay, these are fully charged batteries, by the way. I mean, they've been on for this video. Okay, so we're gonna start out here with channel 1. Gonna push the transmit button here, and you can see that we are getting a 0.131 watts, 1.31, 1.41 more or less. That was on low power, and I have this programmable key to switch to high power by holding it down. And if I didn't have this connected here, I could hear it beep. So now I have it on high power, which high power is supposed to be up to 2 watts. So we're getting 1.73 watts on channel 1. And that's, by the way, we have that in narrow band. All of them are narrow band except channel 4 and 5, by the way. So here's channel 2 on high power, 1.71. We'll switch to low power, 0.13. So we're pretty much the same as channel 1. And we'll go to channel 3, and I'll put all of the megahertz or frequencies up on the screen for you guys to see as well. So here we are in channel 3. That's high power, 1.72. And we'll switch to low power here. And we're at 0.141. And we got channel 4. Channel 4 on high power, 1.77. And we'll put it on low power. And we're at 0.13. It's very consistent so far. And here's channel 5, high power, 1.77. And we'll put it on low power. Here we got 0.131 again. So throughout all of the channels, it's very, very, very consistent, which I really like. And the reason you might or might not use high or low power obviously is depending on the distances or maybe the obstacles that you're trying to get through. Now I tested these more or less in my neighborhood as well, and I get pretty decent range. A lot of people hate on MURS because they say that the range sucks. Well, you're only allowed to transmit maximum 2 watts. So if you want more range, obviously don't get MURS radio. You can't hate on MURS radios because they don't transmit far because obviously they're not meant to. But as I said, everything has its purpose. I think MURS has its purpose and its function. And for you, it might be a great radio as well, just to kind of talk around the house, or if your significant other's like giving your child a bath or something like that and they need your help, or if they need help in the kitchen or something and you're doing something else out in the garage or whatever, it's a lot easier to quickly just pick up a radio and talk to you versus send a text message and wait for somebody to answer. Or, you know, maybe if your hands are full and you can't really pick up a phone to answer it, you can at least hear the conversation really quick from what somebody's trying to say to you. So just going over the manual real quick, let's just see if I find anything interesting. You can find these manuals online. I won't really take pictures and put them in the video here, but let's just see what's interesting here. What I did notice, by the way, if you have your beep setting turned off, because the beep is kind of annoying sometimes, but if you have it turned off from when you programmed your radio, then when you switch to high and low power, you will not hear the beep that you're supposed to normally hear. So here we're in volume 1, right? I'm in channel 5. If I hold this down, you see how it had a single beep and you saw that bar go all the way to the right. That means I'm in high power. If I put it in low power, I just do the same thing again. You hear 2 beeps, but only 2 bars of signal there, I guess it is, or status bar or strength bar there. That means you're now in low power. If you have this beep turned off in the programming settings, you won't hear that and you won't even see the signal strength bar light up, and you're just going to kind of have to guess that you're in low or high power. So I always like to have that exact confirmation that I'm in high or low power, so I turned the beep back on and just kind of dealt with listening to the beep here. And you'll always have, I think, somebody telling you what channel you're on when you're switching. So keep that in mind. Now it does have also weather station, and let's see, I don't think I have it. Do I have it on? Nope. Okay, I set the other button to scan right now, so it's scanning, but you can go into your settings and change this to weather if you want weather. I don't really care to use these for weather radio because I have GMRS and amateur radio that I can easily tune to weather if I wanted to. These aren't meant for storms or emergency preparedness, at least for me. They're just used for basic communication, general communication around the house. Okay, so here's some technical specifications that I can show you here. The output power shows that you should get up to 2 watts on high power and 0.5 watts on low power. So I think we were getting close to that anyway, except on low power, I think we were less than 0.5 at about 0.13, right? So we're a little bit lower than what the lower power says, but for me, I think that's okay, that's doable. If you need more power, obviously switch to the higher power, but for me, it's nice to even have lesser power that you can work around the house if you don't want anybody, less chance of somebody listening to you, right? And so other than that, you just have all of these warnings and things like that on there. So I think that about does it, guys. I hope you guys like this video. I really like these Retevis radios. They're cheap. You get what you pay for. You might not get the best radio that you're looking for, but for the purpose that you might want to use these for, they might not be a bad choice. So at least for me, they work pretty good for what I want them to be used for, just around the house or wherever you're going, maybe to the park or something like that. Quick and easy to grab these little lightweight radios and use them for communication. So if you guys want to check out these radios that I got, I'll put a link in the description. Check it out, maybe purchase it if they're still at a good price. And if you have any questions or comments, just go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to see more radio content or things like this, go ahead and click subscribe, let me know in the comment section. And if you like the video, just like it. And if not, hit that thumbs down button twice.